Well, it's good to be back in Baltimore again, and I want to thank all of the supporters, all the people who have continued to work so incredibly hard in this endeavor. This was, as you know, not something that was on my bucket list of things to do. I was looking at something considerably different than this, but I listened to the voices of millions of Americans, and we still have millions of Americans who are saying on Facebook, you cannot leave us. We have to have a representative of honesty, integrity, and somebody who is not a politician who just does things that are politically expedient and doesn't really care too much about what is right. That is what the problem is, and as I've had an opportunity to really study our system, it has become a little bit discouraging seeing all the relationships that exist there. It is rotten. It is rotten to the core. On both sides, Democrats and Republicans. And they have weaved such a complex web, it will be very, very difficult to untangle it. But I'm not ready to quit trying to untangle it yet. The political class and their minions, which includes much of the media, they don't like it when someone challenges their authority. And I think I'm probably the epitome of someone who challenges their authority. And I absolutely have refused to cooperate with the billionaires and the special interests, and they don't seem to get it. But the problem is they are the problem, and they don't seem to understand that. And at some point, if we continue down this road and we're going off the cliff, just before they hit bottom, they will realize that they're going off the cliff too. And at some point, you would hope that they would give up their little special interest and be interested once again in the United States of America. You think about the pledge that we all learned in kindergarten. One nation. That means united. That means working together. Under God. That means we don't throw away our faith. That means we understand that that is an important part of who we are. And maybe the rest of the world doesn't understand that, but our founding document, our Declaration of Independence, says that our rights come from our Creator, who is God. And we should never forget that. In most other places, they believe that their rights come from the government. And we are rapidly moving toward that stage where we seem to think that our rights come from the government, or at least a lot of us do. Those of us who still believe that they come from God, we have got to be able to hold on. We have got to be able to be strong and not give up. It's often darkest before the dawn. Indivisible. What does that mean? It means we don't allow people to come in and create a war on women and racial wars and income wars and age wars and religious wars and a war on virtually everything imaginable to keep us divided at a time when we need to be more united than ever because we have radical Islamic extremists who want to destroy us. Why should we help them by trying to destroy ourselves? We have got to be smarter than that. with liberty. Freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is not having the government controlling every aspect of your life. Freedom is not having the PC police tell you what you can say and what you cannot say. You know, we are the ones who will determine what our level of freedom is by what we accept. And the people of America must recognize that they have to be actively engaged. And freedom is not free. You have to fight for it every single day. And all you have to do is look throughout history and see what has happened to those societies where people were not willing to stand up, where they thought it was easier just to sit down and put your head down and hope that you weren't noticed and that no one called you a nasty name. Well, you know, people call me nasty names every day, a lot of nasty names. And, you know, I just let it roll off my back like water. But it is sad that we have reached a stage in our country where because someone has a disagreement with you, you know, they want to call you names, they want to destroy your life, they want to destroy everything that they can possibly destroy. Where did that come from? It did not come from our Judeo-Christian foundation. It came from something evil that is in our society today, and something that we must fight to eradicate and recognize that we Americans are all in the same boat. And if part of the boat sinks, the rest of it's going down too. So we have to start thinking collectively, recognizing that we only have 330 million people. It sounds like a lot. But compared to China with 1.4 billion, India with 1.1 billion, it's not that many. And we have a responsibility to try to develop all of those people. The more of those people that we bring into the structure of success in this country, the fewer of those people we have to take care of and pull along in the welfare system, in the penal system, and in a system where they simply are underachievers. We need all of our people to achieve. We need to reevaluate the structure of our school system. We need to provide school choice for people because, you know, you look at what's going on with the military right now. Between the ages of 17 and 24, 71% of applicants for the voluntary military are rejected for either mental, physical, or educational reasons, educational being by far the biggest one. This is a matter of national security. And somehow we have got to become serious enough to recognize that and not be so interested, quite frankly, in who's on Dancing with the Stars and, you know, well, who won the Academy Award. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind a little bit of sports and entertainment. But the fact of the matter is, our nation is in horrible trouble. And, you know, that's the point that I've been trying to get across in these debates. Why sit there and talk about each other and tear each other down when we have such important issues to deal with? It feels like you're talking to a brick wall, you know? And justice for all. What does that mean? That means we don't pick and choose winners and losers in our society. We want everybody in American society to be a winner. And believe me, it is not that hard to do. The policies that have been instituted over the last many years have kept people from being able to achieve at a high level. You know, our taxation structure is draconian, and it will never encourage entrepreneurial risk-taking and capital investment. Those are the drivers of the kind of innovation that led America to the pinnacle of the world in record time. All of these regulations, 81,000 pages of regulations in the last year alone, encircling every aspect of our lives. And the question is, are we going to continue to accept this? It doesn't matter if it's coming from Democrats or Republicans. It is affecting every single one of us. It's injustice for all. So we, the American people, somehow, some way, must awaken from the stupor that allows us to accept what's being done to us. I believe that our forefathers would be horrified if they were here today and if they were able to see what we're accepting. And this is one of the reasons that I got into this race, to really shine the light upon all of this stuff that is going on. And it is my hope that everyone also recognizes that we're at a decision point right now in our nation. What kind of nation are we going to be? Of, for, and by the people, with the government there to facilitate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Or of, for, and by the government, with them to tell us how to do everything from cradle to grave? Because that is the decision that is going to be made in November. And if Hillary is elected, and she gets 2 to 4 Supreme Court picks, just remember that her role model, Saul Alinsky, she was on a first-name basis with Saul Alinsky when she was a student. She wrote about him in her thesis. She is a devout follower of his. And his book, Rules for Radicals, is dedicated to Lucifer, the original radical who gained his own kingdom. That's what it says on the dedication page. So, this is a serious situation, and that's why what I'm going to say right now is vital. Whether I'm the nominee or not, whoever the Republican nominee is, we cannot do what we have done in the past, and that is become fractured and splintered and fight each other and find a way to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. We cannot do it because our children's future depends on it. And maybe we will have an imperfect candidate. In fact, we will have an imperfect candidate. Even if it's me, it'll still be an imperfect candidate. And that's all right, as long as we can help that candidate, as long as we can work with that candidate, and as long as that candidate is willing to work with us, we can somehow get through this. But if we allow the other side to win by not voting, because when we don't vote, we are voting. And we're voting for the other side. And this time, voting for the other side has dire consequences. We may never be able to get back again. And we will have stabbed our children and our grandchildren and all the rest of our prodigy in the heart, and it will be a fatal wound. So, as much as it hurts me to say that, it doesn't matter who it is. We cannot become fractured. And we cannot listen to the progressives who will come and they will say, you guys are wonderful because you are people of principle. And you would never vote for somebody that you didn't agree with. You would go home and you would sit on your hands because you're such principled people. And then they go home and laugh at you because they know that they have won. So here's my point. Even if we get a very imperfect candidate in there, it is unlikely that they will destroy America. And we still have another 4 to 8 years to work hard to build things up again. But if we go home and we don't vote, I do believe that America will be destroyed, and I don't think 4 or 8 or 12 or 100 years will help us. So, it's hard for me to say that, but you have to deal with reality. And God's timetable is different than our timetable. We want everything, and we want it now, and we want it the way that we think it ought to be. But I've discovered throughout my entire life that God's timetable is a lot better than mine. And when you look back over the course of time, you can see how things fit together. And I believe that God still loves this nation. And there are millions of Americans who still love God. And we will, by the grace of God, we will have one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this point, I usually introduce myself and say that I approve this message, but we got some serious stuff here. You heard him. It's scary what's going on. And not too long ago, he opened up his Bible, saying, God, speak to me. He opened up to Judges 7. That's the story about Gideon. I don't know how many of you know that, but that's the one where he started with 30,000 men. And God said, that's too many against the Midianites. So reduced it to 20,000, on down until it was 300. And the other day I was saying, maybe we're not at the 300 yet. Maybe we're not, but it's really serious. And he gave to me a little slogan saying, take a stand for the man with the best plan. I know it's trite, but we've only got one chance. He said 48 years. I'm not sure we even have 4. So tweet whatever, pray. We do have prayer every Monday at 7 o'clock. Pastor Joel, who did the prayer, you can contact him and see how you can get online and pray with us. But this is for the soul of our nation, for our children, for our grandchildren, for children, grandchildren, on down the line. And also as the light to the world, because as a Judeo-Christian nation, we have been the main light of Christianity around the world. This is not only for us in the world, but for God. So thank you all for all of your hard work. And I still do approve his message.